Hey, Media Shout users. This is Eric Idle, president of Media Shout, and I have the great privilege to introduce to you my big brother, Dr. Douglas R. Idle. And let me just tell you a little bit about his background. Doug, most importantly, has just joined our senior management team here in the last 6 months. But I think in a attempt to overcompensate for my having a bachelor's in English literature, my brother went on to get a bachelor's, a master's in business administration, a law degree, and became a medical doctor. And Doug, do you think now that at this point in your career you are about even with my BA in English lit?
Hello, Media Shout customers all across the world. It is great to be here, Eric. I got to tell you, I have so much look forward to this day. We're out here visiting family together in Nashville, and it's just been a wonderful week together, and we wanted to share this video about some exciting new things that Eric and I have been talking about.
So let me give you a little bit about his background because I'm immensely proud of my big brother. Doug went to Cornell University for his master's in business administration, and he went on to get his law degree at University of Virginia. Then he went to medical school at University of Iowa. And then he became chief resident at his psychiatry residency at Wake Forest. And just for good measure, he was a Red Beret in the 82nd Airborne and left the Army as a captain, and was in the JAG Corps, Judge Advocates General Corps. So clearly not a guy with much to talk about. Anyway, at my request, Doug joined our senior management team and has been a wonderful addition to our conversations about short-term plans, long-term plans, and vision and mission of the company. But as we started talking, and this relates kind of to Doug's work as medical director of the Colorado Autism Center and medical director of the War Heroes Medical Center. His background in these areas got him thinking about our customer base and the media volunteers all over the country and churches, and how media teams could play a vital role in providing an opportunity for volunteers that they might not have known about. So, Doug, what were your thoughts? Because this just came up in one of our meetings.
Sure. As you know, we live on a farm, and one day I was out there chainsawing, and I'm thinking always about Media Shout because it's an amazing product, and it's used all across the country, all around the world. And I was thinking about my brother and what you've accomplished together in team with people here in this office as well as around the world. And you've invited me so kindly to join your meetings.
We love
and
it.
To be part of
Love
that.
having you.
And I realized that more than just a production media company, you have a unique opportunity to help get involved with people to help further their missions in their world and in their church. And what a unique opportunity you have. So one of the things I think about in churches is that it is a place for us to develop a relationship with Christ and to be able to learn how to love each other with our weaknesses, our strengths, and to forgive each other and to love. And by loving each other, we also begin to see the image of Christ in each other, and we learn God's love for us and how do we love God more.
Two greatest commandments: love God with our whole heart, mind, soul, strength, and love each other as we would love each other.
And that's
ourselves.
what church is all about. But in my work with autism, what I see is that there is a group of people who just don't quite get how to navigate the social network of things. Now, there's a huge spectrum of autism.
Right, of course.
And in understanding that, there are people who go to church every day, want to be involved, want to understand this thing about a relationship with God, and yet they're struggling to figure it out, and they want to. and they understand it from an intellectual level, and they see people raising their hands and how do you stand. And for some people, by no means all people with autism, they are trying to connect almost by learning a play. And how do you begin learning emotionally and spiritually that? Now, the people who work with the Media Shout product, you get a chance to look out through the congregation and you can observe and see things that other people can't see. What an opportunity. And so I was thinking there, well, after I've been doing some chainsawing, getting the winter wood ready, sitting down there, and I'm thinking, how great an opportunity for the people who use Media Shout to develop a ministry. And I'm not talking about a ministry to build up their tech support team. I'm talking about a ministry to be able to disciple people and be able to share with people.
Give them an opportunity to find a place they can serve
Exactly.
in the church with real strengths and gifts and talents that God gave them.
Because the reality is that many people who have autism, they want to connect with people,
Right.
but they tend to connect better with technology.
Right.
And what more perfect spot?
So being the greeter at the front door is probably not the best
No.
use of their gifts and talents, but God gave them gifts and talents to really relate very beautifully with technology.
For so many individuals, men and women with autism, and to be able to use that as a common ground to begin helping them learn about God's love and to be able to share God's love and what we can learn about somebody with autism. Now, I've got to tell you, you and I didn't meet Jesus when he was here on this earth. We know him in a different way. We know him spiritually. We connect with him. But there are so many parts of Jesus. If I had met him today and didn't know he was God, I'd be thinking, does this guy have a little bit of autism here? Let me just tell you why, because it's kind of unique. How many people do you know who say, get behind me, Satan, or I'm going to be age 12 and I'm going to be in the synagogue and Dad, you step aside. Like, if I was Joseph, I'd be thinking, I don't get this. And I'm trying to figure out who this person is and I'm trying to
relate to my son?
Right. And I only bring that up to say people in the congregation see an image of, I don't get this. And that image of Christ, I'm sure people didn't get him either during the times that he walked this earth.
Misunderstood.
Completely
Because
misunderstood.
of where his head was at, where his heart was at, in a completely different way that other people couldn't relate to. But it didn't mean that something beautiful and wonderful was happening.
Exactly. And so they present to us an image of Christ that we want to learn about and understand how they view the world and how we can share, because we all present this image of Christ. And so show me the image of Christ that you have in your life. Teach me while I'm teaching you to love and to develop relationships through my image of Christ that I want to share with you. Now, I would love absolutely to be able to go to churches and show you perhaps how you can connect and develop a ministry. And again, it's not a ministry to build up your worship tech team. It's a ministry for you to be able to disciple and pour into people's lives. That's what I want.
Invite people, and really that's what these volunteer teams do all over the country. It's a place for people to serve their church. And actually it's a win-win for everybody, because you have people that bring strengths in this area but don't have a place to connect, because many other places in the church are high touch. They're highly, interrelational and all that. Whereas some people with autism prefer just to deal with technology.
That's their gift.
That's
their worship.
So I guess what we're trying to get across today is media teams that we work with all over the world have a great opportunity to go to their pastor and say, hey, if we have members of the congregation that have autism, we want them. Bring them to us. I go to Brentwood Baptist Church here in Brentwood, Tennessee. Wonderful media team. They've got everything, TV and 20 different cameras and the whole thing. But they are very intentional, not just about using your time and energy to get the cameras focused and be up in the director's booth. But they're very intentional about developing volunteers, discipling them, and bringing them closer to the church, and creating community among the entire team, so that they feel loved, that they feel a part of. That's how they connect from a community standpoint.
And the whole purpose is to develop that community so we can learn to love God. How do we learn to love Christ? How does that relationship develop? And so that's what I would love to see the media team do, to be able to develop community so that members of the congregation who have autism and don't know how to connect with people in that same way, that makes it very difficult for them to even, concepts that they take perhaps quite literally and don't even get those nuances. Those are the kind of discipleship areas that are needed by the worship team, that they have no one to show them.
And there's such a rich group of people out there, unknown, probably haven't approached the church to say, hey, how can I serve? Afraid to do it. But there's this pool of talent and ability. I'll give you for instance, some years ago, a friend of mine came to me and said her son was going to be here for the summer, and could he do an internship with us? And he has autism, and she said, is there something he could do? We didn't have time to train him and put him on the customer service tech team, but he had a great affinity with numbers, and we put him in the finance office. And he was amazing.
Just blossomed.
Just amazing. And I remember the woman who was running the finance office just said, he's incredible with bookkeeping and analysis and all of these things that he would do so quickly and so easily and loved. And because he was having fun, he was fun to be around. So he enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. It was a beautiful experience.
I can imagine. And parents and grandparents would die for this type of a program, for the media team to take apart and see what they can do here. That's what I love about Media Shout, is because it's not just a software presentation company. To be able to see Media Shout work with churches to help them develop their ideas in order to build the body of Christ. That's where Media Shout is partnering up. In fact, I want to share something with your customers all around the world. We've got a farm. It's out in West Virginia. If you ever want to bring a family member, just needs to get away from the stress of life, come on out to the farm. It's about 5 hours north of Charlotte, 5 hours south of Washington, D.C. It kind of gives you a place up in the mountains there. Just come on and get away from everything and learn how you can reconnect with God and your family, or it's always open to you.
Well, just remember, Doug, we have 80,000 customers. So
and I'll expect them all next weekend.
You may get a lot of people taking you up on it.
I know, I especially want the ones from South America, if they could, or from Canada, or from the Ukraine. If you all could come next weekend, that would be great.
We have a Hispanic and Canadian background ourselves, so we especially welcome those folks, because those are our people. So just to wrap this up, as you can see, why I'm so proud of my big brother. He's done all these incredible things, but he has a heart for people who are misunderstood, and yet have enormous gifts and talents to be brought to the table. And he's used his life to serve people with PTSD, autism, schizophrenia, all kinds of things in his many years as a psychiatrist. He has generously agreed to join our senior management team, and has even gotten his Tennessee medical license. So he actually sees patients when he's here in Nashville with us, which is pretty wonderful. One of these days, we're going to get you to move here. So at any rate, I'm really proud. Thank you for doing this. And just in closing, part of our ministry, our heartbeat here, is to help media teams to serve the body of Christ in every way they can, not just with the tools of the trade, but helping individual volunteers develop and be discipled. So go to your pastor, or if you have an autism group already in your church, go to them and say, hey, I don't know if you thought about it, but this is a perfect place for people on the spectrum who might find a place where they fit in and feel welcomed. One final note, I want to thank everyone who has sent me cards and emails in the last 6 months. So much appreciate that. Updates to come. But from Franklin, Tennessee, 20 minutes south of Nashville, at the Media Shout home office, we send you our love, our gratitude for being our customers, and we hope if you do get involved with autism ministry, you'll let us know about it. Thanks for being here,
Thanks
Doug.
for inviting me, Eric. Maybe next time we can talk about PTSD or ADHD or the
Wow.
substance abuse crisis. So many things we
I
can
would
talk
love it.
about.
Or you getting your bachelor's in English literature so you're not so jealous of me. I think we should discuss that. All right. Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.